Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Masters Tour Las Vegas. We're live from the Link Hotel. My name is TJ, and I'm joined by Europe Grandmaster and also all-around cheeky lad, Board Control. How's it going, man?
It's going well. It's been a fun time here in Las Vegas. Great tournament. Excited to watch some more Hearthstone.
How did you do in the tournament, Board Control?
So I went 8-4, just missing out on the cut, but very happy with that. And when you come to a tournament, you prepare as a team, right? So to see Fino make top 8, that's all we want. It's just one player getting through to the final cut.
Yeah, I'm sure you're a little bit disappointed to see him eliminated in the first round of the top 8, but I'm sure he'll bounce back. You guys got Grandmasters to fall back on. But we have the next match of the day coming up. It's going to be Dog versus Neirea, which is the losers match for Group B. And taking a look at Dog's deck, we were talking a little bit before we came up here on the desk. And what do you think of this deck?
Yeah, so Dog has quite a unique take on the mage. We see all the other mages in top 8 are this Cyclone-type mage deck, but Dog's instead opted for the Freeze mage with the Doomsayers and the Frost Novas. It's a different take. He's a lot better against, say, a Warrior, which is quite a good read for the tournament because it's mostly Warrior, but it's slightly weaker in some other matchups. We'll see how it pans out for him here. Yeah,
and a couple of things to note in the deck. He does have double weapon removal with Acidic Swamp Ooze and Harrison Jones.
Yeah.
So might help him a little bit. And we talked to Dog and Neirea right before we went on, and they said they don't really know the matchup because it's kind of unique. And they said it's 50-50. But here's Neirea's Rogue deck. You've been playing Rogue quite a bit recently. I know in Grandmasters past few weeks you've been bringing just straight up Tempo Rogue. What do you think of Neirea's list here?
Yeah, we saw this Vendetta Rogue a lot in Grandmasters with Sea Giants. Neirea's opted to get rid of the Sea Giants. He's got the Sap tech in here. And yeah, against Dog's deck specifically, I think this is a decent tech because Sea Giants aren't going to be so good when Dog's playing all these freeze effects and not playing too many minions. So it looks like it's pretty good for Neirea, as well with this side deck of Walk the Planks and Betrayal are going to be useful too.
Yeah, and the one tech that I've liked a lot with Mage is seeing the Fairy Dragon.
Yep.
Or with the Rogue against the Mage is seeing the Fairy Dragon. I'm surprised that it took this long for players to realize that Fairy Dragon was just a good aggressive card against Mage. But with this deck, it doesn't even have hard removal. It counters kind of the Ray of Frost to try and freeze to prevent damage. So maybe that secondary deck coming in from Neirea will give him maybe a slight advantage. But overall, where do you think this matchup lies? Who do you think has the advantage?
Yeah, so just looking at the two deck lists, Dog has so much AoE in his deck. He's got the Novas, got the Blizzards, got the Doomsayer as well to go with them. I think if he can get the Doomsayer turn off to get the swing, it will be very good for him. But again, another coin-dependent matchup. And as we see going in here, Neirea does have the coin here as the Rogue. Yeah,
has coin. And the win rate with coin for Mage just allows you to even have like a different mulligan strategy,
right? It's a completely different game because you go for the giant game plan on the coin, whereas off coin you end up having to just stall for longer.
Yeah. Allows you some greedy keeps with Giant and Conch Calling, but Neirea has coin, has the Evil Miscreant, Spirit of the Shark. So we've had a lot of debates with some pro players, especially some Grandmasters, about just how powerful Spirit of the Shark is. And you have been bringing Tempo Rogue to Grandmasters. Yeah. What side of that fence do you sit on?
Yeah, so it's quite a controversial card. It has very bad win rates, which is what all the people who hate on the card seem to focus on. But I feel like the card is very poorly utilized a lot of the time. You can't just play Spirit of the Shark if you don't have like Miscreant or something in hand for good follow-up. I think it's a high skill testing card, and we'll see how Neirea used it this game for its best effectiveness.
All right, so quoting Board Control, if you think Spirit of the Shark is bad, just play better.
Pretty much.
Yep.
Yeah, Neirea already has a decision here. He could go in for the Shark now and then combo on the Miscreant next turn.
Yeah, he does need Backstab, though. To use Backstab, though.
Yeah.
Because he can't use Witchy Lackey to combo Evil Miscreant because you get rid of Spirit of the Shark value.
Well, yeah, he could Backstab his Shark. I wonder. I think he'll do that, and then he can just evolve it anyway.
Yeah. Backstab, not entirely useful of a card because Dog doesn't play really anything in the early game. He doesn't play Sorcerer's Apprentice, doesn't play Mana Cyclone, doesn't even play Khadgar.
Yeah.
So he can feel free to backstab this minion, not worry about not having it in his hand later on.
Yeah, he might actually just go for the Shadow Step here. After picking up 2 Kobold Lackeys, that's so much burst damage Neirea could have it with the Shark, yeah, and he does take it back into hand.
Wow. And also with Life Drinker as well. And Evil Cable Rat still to find more lackeys.
Yeah, already looking at 18 damage there if all these lackeys go, if everything goes face.
Yeah. Next turn.
Yeah. Dog here has these Rabble Bouncers, finally playable. Frostnova Doomsayer is a combo he probably wants to hold for a wider board. So I imagine he will go just for the Rabble here, then just to stall a little bit.
Arena's full. Beat it.
So this seems to be kind of the downfall of the deck, where you don't have kind of those crazy swing turns.
Yeah.
In the main list for Dog, he doesn't have like Sea Giants. He has Rabble Bouncers, but it feels like he's just always a little bit too slow for him to play.
Yeah, he really needs to hit that Pocket Galaxy a lot of the time.
Yeah.
That's really the card that the whole deck's built around. But yeah, it misses it this game, so things are always going to be a little slower.
Yeah, and even sometimes against Rogue, it feels like you're giving up so much to spend 5 mana on the Luna's Pocket Galaxy, even after the buff.
Yeah, here
2 mana.
Some not so great choices for Neirea, but the Blessing of Might does allow him to clear up this Rabble Bouncer. Yeah, that looks pretty good here, especially with this Divine Shield.
Yeah.
Could also use Vendetta though, yeah, because the Blessing of Might is the card of Vendetta.
He could even...
He could rush the Goblin Lackey or Cobalt Lackey, yeah.
Yeah, this seems better because the way Neirea's hand is, it's pretty much 100% damage.
Yeah.
So any little bit of extra damage he can push is going to be super valuable.
Yeah, one use of the Goblin Lackey can be, if there's a Frostnova Doomsayer, to give a minion rush to trade the Doomsayer, but he has all these Cobalt Lackeys if he needs to do that, and he's probably just planning on just going face very soon here.
Yeah, so counting damage for next turn, if Dog, let's say he just removes the 5/1, if he pings and plays something else like the Rabble Bouncer, there's 4/5 on board, 3 with the Blessing of Might, so that's 8. And then with the Spirit of the Shark, he would have mana for all this. That's another 12, so 20 damage. But it looks like he's going to pull the trigger on Frostnova Doomsayer.
Yeah, this board's pretty much as wide as it's going to get for Neirea. And now he has to decide, is it worth to kill this Doomsayer, or does he just want to hold all these things and to go face later on? It's a lot of resources into this Doomsayer, and especially when Dog's playing Blizzard as well. If you're playing all these 1/1s, they're just going to die.
So many options.
But if you don't kill the Doomsayer, maybe Dog gets to play Astromance on an empty board, and do you fall too far behind?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we're feeling safe on 28. Doesn't mind if he loses board here. I think he's committing to this this burst damage line.
Yeah, I mean, 12 damage just from the Kobold Lackeys. If Life Drinker's able to be played with Spear of the Shark, it's another 6.
Yeah.
So he's actually just getting close to being able to kill him from hand. Just needs a couple other things. He doesn't have Eviscerates in the main list or Preps. This is something that we've seen happen quite a bit recently. I have liked the list more with Eviscerate.
Yeah, me too.
The Sea Giants, while I always argue with Admirable about it because he hates the Sea Giants. So I say I love the Sea Giants just to get an argument out of Admirable, but I'm kind of indifferent about them. Don't tell him I said it.
Yeah, let's hope he's not listening.
It'll ruin my fun.
Yeah, so Neirea with the second Spirit of the Shark pickup, just in search of more damage here. The Yolaki looking for damage. Ooh, Raiding Party can draw a Waggle pick, but that's not great.
And
no Death Metal minions for the Violet, for the Nectarine Vial, so yeah, Violet Haze looks like the pickup.
Could build a Henchclan Burglar as
well.
well.
Oh, Henchclan Burglar as well, yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know how valuable that is.
That's just a bit slow, especially when we know Dog plays 2 weapon removals. Picking up the Waggle pick just isn't very useful.
Yeah, and I feel like that's one of the things that this Burgle Rogue has going for it, is that even if you have Waggle pick in your deck, if you're going up against a lineup that has a ton of weapon removal, you don't have to play the Waggle picks because it's not core to the deck. It's kind of a bonus. Whereas in Temple Rogue, you have Deckhand, Greenskin, Dread Corsair. You kind of need to play it to get your engine going. But in this deck, you don't have to play into weapon removal, which gives you the option of forcing maybe Dog into a situation where he has a dead card.
Yeah, and this is a very interesting turn here for Dog. He could just set up the Conjurer's Calling. He has a choice of 7 drops or 6 drops. Or he could go like a little more defensive, just guarantee play the Taunt. He has the Rabble Bouncer as well.
7 drops do have more taunts, I believe. You have Amani Warbear, Tunnel Blaster, Fury Setting.
Yeah, and Reform.
And yeah, Archvillain Reform as well. 6 drops, I think it's Damage Stegatron, which is the Juice, and Sunwalker. So they're pretty good.
Yeah. We'll just go for 7s, and yeah, this Towns Noswicker, I don't think it's going to be very useful here for the Mage. And now he has to decide, Does he need the power on board? Currently, he has 16 damage. Now he is on 18, but we know he plays the life drinkers for heal, so it's going to be difficult to set up lethal damage. You also have to be scared of potential burst damage from Neirea with all these lackeys being held and the Shark on board, so I imagine it's going to be Rabble Bouncer.
Yeah.
Beat it.
So this is a lot of damage. Let's see. With the sap, that's 2 mana. So we have 6 mana with 2 on board, so he needs 22. 3 Kobold lackeys would leave him with 3 mana, so that's 12. Blessing of Might would be 15. He could Life Drinker double Kobold lackey after the sap, which would be 14.
It's just not quite there. So like Neirea maybe has to think about setting up a 2-turn lethal.
Yeah.
Dog, in terms of healing, does have Ziliax, and there's Alex Straza, so he's got to watch out for those two.
Mm-hmm. So doesn't want to go too all in. The second Spear of the Shark doesn't do anything.
Yeah, they don't. It doesn't stack the effects.
Yeah.
So you might play it now to invest for next turn, but I don't really see why you need to do that.
Yeah, it's because Spear of the Shark reads your combos in Battle Cry minions trigger twice. It doesn't read your combos in Battle Cries trigger an extra time.
Yeah.
So it'll always just be limited to twice.
Yeah, I like being in this Blessing of Might now while your minions can attack face. It's going to be way more difficult to fit this in later. All the other minions are obviously Battle Cries, so you can easily weave them in. Yeah, you're going for 6 drop here.
What was lost can be found
Radiant White.
again.
So this is a 2-turn lethal setup.
Yeah.
Neirea has the 12 damage from Kobold Lackey's the Spear of the Shark and Dagger Up, so from hand with no taunts in the way.
Yeah, Neirea does risk. There's Alex Straza here would just be game for Dog if he had it. It's a bit of a big risk here for Neirea, but it feels like he has to take it just to set up his own lethal.
Yeah.
And I like it.
Now Neirea did set this up, but he knows that he put a Rabble Bouncer back in the hand.
Yes.
So it's likely that a taunt comes down, and he needs that Dagger Up or
Yeah.
something off the top that can deal with Rabble Bouncer.
There's SI7 Agent he can draw for additional damage and second Life Drinker.
Okay.
Would that be mana? Yeah, just enough mana for them.
Or crazy stuff from Hedge Clan Burglar, but I think that might be too expensive.
Yep. Yeah, Dog on cleanup duty here. Oh! Realizes he doesn't need to trade anymore after getting all these taunts.
Yeah, that's a 3rd taunt for 6 drops, so it might be pretty
Yep.
similar in amount of taunts between 6 drops and 7 drops. But those are 2 of the best.
Yeah, there's also just board space problems here for Neirea. With this Frost Nova, he just can't fit everything in.
And he's staring at a counter lethal.
Yeah. So, yeah, Ziliax here doesn't look like it's good enough to stop the lethal from happening. Yeah, just starts digging with Novice.
Hope you like my invention.
Yeah, but like you said, board space issues means he can only play 1 more minion. I think he's just dead. I don't think Violet Haze can pick up anything that'll save him.
Yeah.
Nope.
There's no magic death threat on minion. Yeah, just looking at possibilities. Is Ziliax no attacks? Then there's just ping, trade, and there's too much.
Too much damage.
Yeah.
Choose soon.
This is one of the downsides to getting all damage from the Evil Miscreant, from the Spear of the Shark is, yes, you have a ton of damage that can go face, but you have pretty much nothing that can fight for board. And unfortunately for Neirea, that means Dog takes game 1. And it looks kind of bad for him early game, but the thing about this deck is that its mid to late game potential just feels so high. It just feels so good with all the freezes and the big swing turns that it can muster.
Yeah, and just looking forward into the series, yeah, they both get to switch up their decks for next game. And yeah, Neirea, we saw he just didn't quite get in terms of damage. Now he puts in Fairy Dragons into his deck. If you hit that early, that can be the chip you need in the early game. Then you get Blizzarded away, and then you do the burst damage turns.
Yeah. Dog does have a secondary deck, which is a little bit interesting. It takes out the Harrison Jones, so you have 1 less weapon removal. It does put in Sea Giants. It's a much more lean version.
He adds in Mirror Image and Khadgar as well.
Yeah.
So that's just additional ways of stopping the early damage from happening.
Yeah. Do you think that's a choice, though? Because there are some cuts from the deck, and you can see here, he takes out Harrison Jones, Archmage Antonitis, Astromancer, Calgos. Yeah, that seems like too much greed.
Yeah, definitely. We did see the Astromancer was actually very good last game.
It was, but he was able to set it up with a Frost Nova Doomsayer.
Sea Giants will also be quite effective as well. As we saw, like with all those lackeys on board, he has all these freeze effects. Like a Nova Sea Giant swing turn will be quite good.
That's why the Rogues put in Sea Giants themselves a lot of times. They realized they had wide boards quite often. So it looks like both players are going to be switching to secondary decks. So as we see here, Sea Giants, Khadgar, Mirror Image for Dog. And for Neirea, we're going to add Betrayal, double Fairy Dragon, and double Walk the Plank. And takes out Evil Caper Rat, Snip Snap, Life Drinker, Waggle Pig, and Ziliax.
Yeah, interesting tech choices here for Neirea. Like when you play Sap and Betrayal and 2 Walk the Planks, what the mage can sometimes do is just not play a big guy, just play removal, and then just the rogue can just be stuck with all these removal cards in hand that don't do too much. We'll see how it works out for him here, though.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Now, these are two, I guess Neirea's Rogue is relatively standard, but Dog's Mage is far from standard, especially when we look at the other decks in the top 8, which are all Cyclone Mages. Across the tournament, Rogue only boasted like a 50% win rate against Mage, which a lot of players recently have been saying that Rogue is one of the best counters to Mage, and a lot of the Rogue secondary and tertiary decks have been for direct counters to Mage. So I'm really surprised, honestly, that even with all that said, that Rogue only has a 50% win rate against Mage in this field.
Yeah, it's crazy. There's a lot of... It seems to be like people who play Mage a lot think Mage is favored, people who play Rogue a lot think Rogue is favored, just the standard stuff in Hearthstone. Yeah, I personally think it's a little bit better for the Mage. It's like the Rogue, it's quite... We saw then he had the Shark and the Miscreant. That was like a really strong hand for the Rogue, and it still just didn't get there.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of Shark and Miscreant.
Yeah, not on the coin, though, so a little bit harder. And Dog is on coin with Luna's Pocket Galaxy and Conjurer's Calling.
Yeah, just kept hold of that Lunas in the Mulligan and the Conjurers. It's just, he basically just needs to go coin Lunas, draw any big minion, and he'll be ahead on board.
Yeah. This feels like what the deck is designed to do. And we have seen some players kind of testing out with Freeze Mage. I know, like, So Legit has been playing Freeze Mage for, it feels like, years at this point.
Yeah.
Who did we see? Was it Language Hacker was playing like the standard Freeze Mage with double Fireball, a little bit extra burn.
Yeah, bit more tech for the mirror there.
Yeah. But I really do like this kind of minion Freeze Mage that we're seeing from Dog and, of course, from Frozen, who practiced with him. Yeah,
already a very tough turn here for Neirea. Thinking he could Novice Engineer, maybe that'll help him draw an Activator for like Miscreant next turn or something. But Novice Engineer is likely just going to get pinged. Mage's turn 2 is always pinged, so it feels like a waste. You might want to use the Novice Engineer with the Spirit of the Shark later.
Yeah. There's like the absolute crazy draw, which would be like Shadow Step. You play Novice Engineer, Shadow Step, but you have an Activator for Evil Miscreant, but without Shadow Step in hand, little awkward. Channelize the Dragon Hawk.
Yeah, that's a bit of a troll there from Blinkfox, since the Rogue hero power doesn't actually count for dealing the damage.
Yeah. Kind of weird. In some ways, you would think it did.
Yep.
But because the actual hero power just gives you a dagger, once you have the dagger is no longer your hero power. It's just a good old dagger.
Yeah, Dog instantly calling out that Pocket Galaxy, and he's going to be powering up very fast. So Neirea needs to try and combat that. He needs to go fast himself here.
Yeah.
Well, he could do the play we saw last game where he backstabs his Shark to combo the Miscreant. Novice plus Miscreant is way too many cards here.
Yeah, he would draw, it would be 6 cards, and he'd be spending 2 from hand, so he would overdraw 1.
But he might think that's fine.
Okay. Just going for damage.
Yeah, it is. Dog does play 2 Frostbolts, but and there's Ziliax, but apart from that, maybe the Shark can stick on board. I mean, we see here, it's going to be difficult to remove. Dog searching for that Frostbolt.
Or Ziliax.
Or Ziliax, yeah.
And a Rabble Bouncer, and it's free because it costs 1 base plus minions on board.
There's really just no... Actually, he's just searching for any minion at this point when everything costs 1, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just everything's a good top deck. Yeah, with only 1 Waggle pick in Neirea's deck, Dog feels like he doesn't need to save the ooze for that. Tempo is key. even holding on to this Rabble Bouncer, I think for the Conjurer's Calling's in hand next turn.
Just in case he doesn't draw a minion.
Yeah.
Have seen some crazy outcomes from Conjurer's Calling into Arcane Keysmith. I think it was this tournament. A player got weaponized Pinata from the Arcane Keysmith, and the weaponized Pinata died.
Yeah, I think. What do they get off the Pinata?
Elysiana.
Oh.
It didn't matter, but it was cool.
The best one is when they get Vargoth and it just casts the Conjurers again on
Oh,
your minions,
jeez.
and then you get another one in hand.
Ooh.
The good and the bad there with this Giggling Event and Prophet Velen.
Prophet Velen has to have a target on spec, though.
Yeah, we saw Neirea use Walk the Plank last turn on Ziliax, so now, yeah, there's just no answer anymore.
You can trade into it, but that's a lot of resource to sink in, especially with Ravenholt Assassin on the other side.
So you've seen Ooze, you've seen Rabble Bouncer, you've seen Ziliax. Can you just start hoping to go face with Wagglepick into Leroy?
That's possible.
Is that a possible start here? Yeah.
And he has to have the suspicion that Dog has moved to a secondary deck, which means he removes Harrison Jones.
Yeah, he knows, because Dog used both the twin spells here, he knows there's 2 Conjurers in hand, and he can't access his stealth minion. It's a very awkward spot.
So let's, if he pushes 11 damage to face this turn, next turn he does have exact mana for Wagglepick Leroy. And that would be way over lethal because he put him down 13, Wagglepick plus double Leroy 16.
Yeah, so he really only needs to get Dog down to 16 here. So he can, take a trade here.
Trade on the Giggling Inventor.
Yeah, I imagine he pushes face and then hopes Dog plays, but it's likely Dog just plays Blizzard, right? We know there's 2 of them, and then it might become a flip here for Neirea on the Leroy.
If Dog does just Blizzard, it's a 1 in 3 for Leroy.
He could also actually, there's Kobold Lackey stuff as well, but then there's no mana. Yeah, it's awkward. Actually, he could bounce SI, and with the SI plus Kobold Lackey, that would be 4 damage if there is a Blizzard here.
Oh, yeah, you're right. So it would be a 2 in 3, essentially.
Yeah.
What about if he bounces Evil Miscreant, he could replay that and get another Kobold Lackey, and that'd be enough mana as well. So a chance with all 3. A 2 in 3 for guaranteed if Dog were to make that play.
Yeah, so I think Dog might even notice that Blizzard isn't quite good enough. Yeah, instead, going for Arcane Keysmith, there's a 50% chance to hit the secret he wants, which would be the Ice Barrier.
Vaporize also.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, he can't freeze, so he'd have to make some trades.
Yeah. He just whiffed a bit here on this Instax. He was looking for the additional taunt with the Rabble Bouncer, looking for Frost Nova, but whiffed on them. Has to trade now.
And this is lethal if Neirea just checks for Vaporize first. And I don't think he has an option, right?
Yeah, I mean, he has to consider, can I play around Ice Barrier? What are the other possible secrets? But I don't think he can do anything about Ice Barrier here. I guess just go face the 1/4 to test. And I mean, he can trade this off, but then Vaporize would be worse.
Ooh.
Wait. Oh, it's so awkward.
Dog did take a long time to pick that secret.
Because if you go face and then it's nothing, right? Then you end up making a flip where you didn't want to make a flip.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know what the trade does. If he trades, maybe he thinks he can clean up the board with Vendetta.
Oh.
He didn't pick Vaporize.
Wow. So Neirea with a read that Dog just wouldn't pick the Vaporize because Dog's probably thinking, what if I pick Vaporize? He just goes face,
He just goes face.
Yeah.
Wow. What the heck?
Oh my, I just presumed Dog had picked the Vaporize.
Yeah, so did I.
Yeah.
It's hard to see which secret he actually picks because it appears on screen for like a split second before it goes out. So it looks like he picked Counterspell because there was splitting image, Vaporize, and Counterspell.
We obviously have Cast Division here. We can see the Leroy in hand. Dog doesn't know about that, so maybe he's thinking about some potential reach.
Yeah.
And then Counterspell blocks like a Betrayal as well to stop the lethal coming back.
Yeah, he's thinking Leroy's a one-of, whereas, you know, all the other possibilities that Neirea could have in his hand may pick apart my board. And Dog was running low on minions. While he had Luna's Pocket Galaxy active, every minion that he drew was a threat, but he had like a pretty expensive Mountain Giant in hand, and that was it. So I guess it is kind of the correct pick from Dog. He decided to play around all the other stuff that Neirea could do instead of exactly Leroy. And he also saw the Evil Miscreant, so it would have been a complete like bluff attempt if he had gone for Vaporize in the first place. So.
Yeah. I also thought it was quite interesting that game. They Neirea cut Waggle Pick, Dog cut Weapon Removal. Turned out Waggle Pick was just the key card in the matchup.
Yeah, ended up being it. So we're all tied up at 1-1 apiece now, and both players 99.9% going to stick with their secondary decks. And I did just get confirmation that that is the case. So Dog, even it seemed like game one, his hand was kind of rough. He was off coin. He didn't have Luna's Pocket Galaxy. He was kind of fighting from behind and won. And then in game two, he had coin Luna's Pocket Galaxy on 4, had a pretty insane start, and lost. So kind of backwards as far as this matchup usually plays out.
Yeah, we did see at the end, like they could have got Ice Barrier, right? And then that would have been completely different.
It would have been, yes.
Yeah.
But comes down to this final game, game 3.
Yeah, and coin back on the rogue side with Fairy Dragon and Evil Miscreant.
Whew.
You could even keep hold of the Blink Fox too. It's a quite an interesting hand here for Neirea. Dog does have the potential curve. Like Doomsayer is the counter to the Fairy Dragon.
Mm-hmm. And keep in mind, this is a lower bracket match for this group stage for the top 8. So whoever loses this match is completely out of the tournament. So a pretty big deal. And even the winner has to win one more, even just to make it to top 4, and has to play in decider matches. And for Dog, that would be a rematch against Hypno later.
Yeah, pretty huge games here for Neirea as he's looking to get into Grandmasters next year. And doing the best you can in these tournaments is going to put you in the best position.
Yep. I mean, if you win a Masters Tour event, it is hard not to qualify for Grandmasters just because someone else from your region that isn't in Grandmasters has to like win the next one and have a high finish in the first one.
Yeah. Actually, cringing here. Neirea mulled away the Fairy Dragon because of the Doomsayers in Dog's deck. Got the Fairy Dragon back from the mulligan, plays it, and then the reason why he mulled it, it's there.
Still a lot of value in Neirea's hand, though. This is Spirit of the Shark, Henchclan Burglar, Evil Miscreant, Evil Cable Rat.
So going into Rogue's turn 4, do you want to Mirror Entity a Shark? Is there anything that can happen there? I'm just looking, there isn't really much, right? He played the only Arcane Keysmith, and the only other Battlecry minion are Acidic Swamp Ooze and Alex Straza. Yeah,
so no.
He does pick the Ice Barrier, which makes a lot of sense. It was what he was looking for last game. He is going to die to reach. So yeah, I like the Ice Barrier a lot there from Dog.
All right, Khadgar Mirror Image. Those were some of the cards that he put in the secondary deck.
The Mirror Image could have been huge last game as well, but with stopping the Leroy stuff, yeah. So it's going to be much harder this game for Neirea to get the burst damage down. But Neirea, as you said, has a very high value hand, so maybe he goes for a more grindy approach this time, especially without the Pocket Galaxy being picked up.
Henchclan Burglars can do some crazy things. I don't think Hunter who we had on the desk previous matchup, said he lost to a Pyroblast from his opponent's Henchclan Burglar, and honestly, he hasn't stopped talking about it.
Yeah,
he's not going to get over that for a while.
I've heard the story 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
And it does go for the lackeys. Oh, so these are 3 lackeys. He's got too many cards in hand at this point. Yeah, just test for the secret here, sees what's up. Now he's got to decide what to do. The Evolve lackey's looking good. Kobold lackey for damage looking good too.
Yeah, he can play Kobold lackey, the Witchy lackey, and the Ethereal lackey in this turn, and still have hand space.
Yeah.
Ooh. Oh.
So yeah, 1 Waggle pick, Blade Fury, not very good. Pilfer might be the pick because your hand's full. Can you pick Myra's on a full hand?
If you absolutely need 1 card to win the game in 8 turns, I don't know.
Yeah, it does go for the Pilfer. Ooh. So Contract can be useful to kill things, but his deck's got so much removal in it already. Does he need a Contract? Could have taken Cold Blood for more reach, but looks like he's going for the grindy approach here. Maybe he's going to try and kill everything Dog plays.
It's a bold strategy.
Yeah, it is.
And he got the lucrative contract, which Destroyer made it add 2 coins to your hand.
Yeah, that could lead to some crazy burst shenanigans later on.
Yeah.
With the second Spirit of the Shark. We'll see if that ends up happening. But Dog I mean, he can clear the Shark with Nova double Raya Frost. That doesn't feel very good. He could sub the Rabble Bouncer or just Blizzard. Oh.
Blizzard leaves the Spear of the Shark on the board.
Yeah.
Dog looks like he wants to try and be at least slightly proactive here. I mean, if this Mountain Giant sticks by some miracle, and then he draws Conjurer's Calling,
Yeah.
he probably wins.
I think he's just hoping either there's obviously no clear, but if Walk the Plank happens, you've played Giant for 5, he plays Walk the Plank for 4. It's kind of like a fair exchange there. Not too much bad things are happening with the Shark at that point.
So many options.
But Neirea could play the lucrative contract.
Yeah.
He would only get 1 coin in hand, but then he could coin out
Pilfer?
Pilfer.
Coin Pilfer doesn't sound like the best line.
He could coin Pilfer and get a, I don't know,
So
a
many.
backstab.
So
To
he gets a
dump.
mage card, right?
Oh, yeah, you're right. Now he gets a mage card, yeah. An elemental evocation, which is completely useless.
I mean, it does make sense to play the contract over the water plank since you want to do other stuff with the water plank later on a different removal turn, and there's not much you can do. If you water plank now, there's nothing else you play with it, so I can understand why he's doing this. I mean, I guess it's coin Pilfer.
Unless he feels like he can discard a card.
Maybe, yeah. Thinks the coin is better than the average draw in his deck here.
I don't know about that. Still got Shadow Steps. Betrayal I don't think he needs because Dog's kind of in the position where he can only play really 1 minion at a time.
Yeah, but there's also cards like Togwaggle, which would be insane. We haven't even drawn that card yet in this series.
There's a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, but after seeing Dog's last turn, he might have the read that, like, my Shark just can't die. It didn't die last turn. Why is it going to die this turn?
True.
These cards are good enough with the Shark. He can have a bigger turn with his Shark on board next turn with the coin, right? But Dog top decks that Frostbolt. Starts him on cleanup duty. He's holding on to the Rabble Bouncer. It's the only threat in his hand. He knows he needs to get the swing turn. He wants to go Khadgar, Rabble Bouncer, Conjurer's Calling. So he's just waiting for that.
So what card would you rather have, a coin or a Vendetta?
0 mana deal 4 or 0 mana game 1? I think I'd rather have the Vendetta.
Oh my gosh.
Oh!
Okay, where's Hunter Ace?
Oh, we can see him, yeah. Yeah, the Pyroblast pickup. And I mean, we were saying he needed range in previous games. That is the range that can get there.
Yeah, that is some exceptional range.
Oh, and there it is. The Conjurer's Calling.
Okay.
Dog's patience here is being rewarded.
But 7 drops.
There's a large variance of 7 drops
A
here.
very large variance. There's some taunts. There's also things that can work against you, like Baron Geddon.
Ooh. Bloodshot Zapper. Oh. Okay.
Bloodshot Zapper and Box Shaper.
So 2 minions get drawn here after casting the spell. And when these mirror images die, they each deal 4 damage to the rogue's face.
Yep.
Wow.
That is a lot of stuff.
That is crazy.
Draws Alex Strauza as well.
And how on earth does Neirea deal with all of this?
He doesn't. No Betrayal. I don't know if Vendetta would have helped much in this situation.
And here we see the small issue with the Walk the Plank. Because there's 2 Walk the Planks in the deck, Dog's never going to go in unless he goes all the way in. And then suddenly, what does one Walk the Plank do against 4 minions?
Yeah. And like you said, every minion that he clears, unless one is the Zapper, will deal damage. So that's 2 right there, and then still every minion that dies now will deal 2.
Yeah, got to start thinking about damage. Did pick up this Waggle pick, knows there's only 1 weapon removal. He can try and set up this Leroy play again. But there's a lot of damage on the backswing. I mean, 2 minions were just drawn. If you don't clear enough board, then the Alex Strauza would represent lethal. But I imagine he clears up some stuff here. Ooh, Vanish.
Oh.
Choose soon.
So if he had a Theralakied first, he could have vanished this board away.
That would have been huge. These 7 drops are pretty unplayable.
Yeah. You could tell Neirea was shaking his head a little bit as well.
Even here, messes up these trades as well. Could have traded the 3/5 into the Tor and traded the 1/1 into the 5/8.
Yeah.
A little shaky here.
Yeah, I mean, when they're in that position, already probably tilted by the vanish off the Ethereal Lackey, and then you see the rope burning, and you're just saying,
just panic mode,
yeah, I need to clear stuff whichever way I can.
Yes, it's better to clear the stuff than to just rope it out.
I always go for the save myself the embarrassment route, where if I miss a trade, I just ship it all to face, even if my opponent has lethal on board.
Yeah. Yeah, so Dog here. Casting spells are just amazing at this point.
Yeah. He doesn't have Luna's Pocket Galaxy active, which would just be the absolute nuts.
Yeah, just going to fill the board again with 7 drops. Oh, more Bog Shapers. What?
What is going on? Someone broke the code. And the funny thing about this is these are all like immune to betrayal because they're heavy weighted on health.
Yeah.
He had Gar's Conjurer's Calling and got the same 2 minions both times.
Damn.
Don't you just love to be a Hearthstone player in these moments?
It's amazing.
When you're up here, it's fun. When you're over there at the player desk, not so fun.
Yeah, you can see Dog there. Obviously, random vanish. What can you do?
Yeah. But still a ton of resources in hand. Has Alexstrasza, has Ziliax, a lot of defensive options.
Yeah. So Dog needs to try and... Neirea needs to try and set something up here. Waggle pick? I mean, he knows that so many minions have been drawn. It's so likely that there's a taunt minion that Dog has in hand. Like, going for the burst approach just doesn't seem to get there. But what approach is going to get there for Neirea is the question.
Choose soon.
I mean, his hand just spells damage.
Yeah, I mean, I think you just have to go for the Waggle pick and maybe just hope Dog just drew every minion that wasn't taunt stuff, or you just pilfer into Polymorph or something to get past these taunts. Pilfer into second Pyroblast.
My hand is too full.
Well, we wouldn't even be able to play them both. Yeah, Dog actually just has the ooze, yeah.
Has the ooze, yep. Neirea probably could have expected that. There's only 9 cards left in Dog's deck. He's drawn so many with the Arcane Intellect early on in the game, and of course the Bog Shaper. And perfect mana for Mirror Image Sea Giant as well. Neirea's staring at lethal. He can clear up this acidic Swamp Ooze, but when you're having to play on the back foot as the rogue and your opponent's not in range of you killing them with anything reasonable, it's a bad time.
Yeah, and you've got to start thinking about some magical outs here, which is why he's going for the Henchman Burglar. Ooh. Well, none of these look particularly amazing at this point.
No.
Yeah.
And Charge is just a straight up lie.
Yeah. I mean...
Give a minion rush. A spell called Charge.
So
Yeah.
many
What's going on there? There's Zap as well. Takes out the 3-2. It's just a rubbish backstab, really.
Yeah. So does take Rush. I mean Charge. Messenger Raven. So that doesn't say discover minion, it says discover a mage minion. Are there any mage minions that can help? There's like Sorcerer's Apprentice, Khadgar, Mana Cyclone, Archmage Antonitis, Toki Time Tinkerer, Malacrass.
Mana Cyclone?
Mana Cyclone might be okay, but...
I think then you can get like Frost Nova. These are some crazy outs, but like, you've got to start reaching at this point for something.
Yeah.
Ooh. This Conjurer's Calling on the Sea Giant could make Max wait. Does he just have... not quite. It's 1 off, right? Yeah.
1 off. But I think he feels pretty confident about putting him to 1 here.
Yep. So set up on 1. Think about how do I ever die? And then, yeah, a Mech would be insane. The Ziliax magnetizing on. 2 Mech options. Ooh. Misses out, but the Deathwing's still pretty huge. Yeah, Frost Nova can deal with the board.
Yeah. And Neirea cut a lot of his healing in his secondary deck to make room for all this removal. He cut Ziliax, he cut a Life Drinker, and doesn't draw another Life Drinker. So unless there's a Miracle Minion that I'm not thinking of for Messenger Raven, he could Witchy Lackey if the Henchman Burglar and get Ziliax.
Yeah.
But then it's still just pretty much lethal on board because he pings trades and hits for 12 with the Deathwing.
Yeah, I mean, he can betray it as well to deal with the 8/8.
Okay, yeah.
Ooh. Wrong rush minion there.
Yep.
And looks like that's pretty much it.
I give up.
Yep. Neirea concedes. Dog, 2-1 victory. He's moving on to the decider match of Group B. And unfortunately for Neirea, that means he is eliminated from Masters Tour Las Vegas. Though a top 8 performance, very impressive. Haven't seen Neirea in a little while. I know that he, for a while, kind of took a step back from Hearthstone, but 2 World Championship appearances under his belt. I don't think that he's a player that's going to go away for some time.
Yeah, I have to remember, with 300 players, everyone had to win a cup to get here or get in through Grandmasters.
Yeah.
So to make top 8 is a huge accomplishment in itself.
Yeah, that's right. And I think Admirable kind of said it early on that since Gallen and Neirea were both close to getting into their respective regions Grandmasters, if they both count as half, then the top 8 was 4 out of 8 Grandmasters. Now, that's admirable logic, so I don't know how much weight it holds. But Dog will move on to face Hypno in a rematch. Dog is undefeated against Warrior decks so far in Masters Tour Las Vegas, with the exception of Hypno, who's beat him twice.
Yeah, Hypno has those crazy techs with the Azalina stuff to just flip the matchup on his head. We'll have to see how that one goes.
Yeah, that one should be fun. And of course, we see Gallen, who was the player to move on from Group B. He's waiting in the top 4. And the way the top 4 works is a single elimination. And the player that wins Group B plays the second place player from Group A.
Yeah.
So we're going to have some cross groups. So we have 1 Warrior already in the top 4. We're not going to have a Rogue, so it's going to be maybe another Warrior or Mages all the way through. But that's that match in the books. Board Control, I want to thank you for joining me for this cast.
Yeah,
Great insight. Any last words that you'd like to give to the crowd here? Go face.
Always value trade.
Always value trade. AVT. Wiser words have never been spoken. But thanks so much, Bor. I'm sure we'll be seeing you in the next coming weeks of Grandmasters. But for everybody else, we have a lot more Hearthstone still left to play today. Coming up next, we have the decider match for Group A. So don't go anywhere. More Hearthstone action right after this.